So let's talk about unlocking a mental skill that is so powerful but so underrated. It's the ability to genuinely, truly see the world through someone else's eyes. It's this skill that can totally transform your relationships, your career, and really just how you handle conflict in general. So let's get right into how you can master it.
Haven't we all been there? You're in a heated discussion, maybe even a full-blown argument, and you are laying out the facts, the logic, the evidence, but the other person just isn't getting it. It feels like you're speaking two completely different languages, like you're hitting a brick wall. It is so frustrating, it's exhausting, and it is incredibly common. But why? Why does this keep happening?
Well, the answer and the solution, it all comes down to a skill called perspective taking. Think of it as your cognitive superpower. It's the deliberate act of stepping outside of your own head to genuinely understand how another person is processing the world. Now, this isn't about agreeing with them, not at all. It's about understanding them. And that is the secret key to unlocking solutions in almost every single conflict we face.
To master this superpower, first, we have to defeat its biggest enemy. So welcome to Level 1, the Knowledge Curse.
Just let that sink in for a second. It's such a powerful idea. When we disagree, we think we're fighting over the same set of facts. But we're not. See, each of us is operating from this unique personal library of knowledge and experiences that completely shapes how we see those facts. We're each living in and arguing from a slightly different reality.
This phenomenon actually has a name: the curse of knowledge. It's this tricky cognitive bias where, once we know something, it's almost impossible to remember what it was like not to know it. You can't unknow it. And because of that, we just subconsciously assume that everyone else has the same information and context that we do. It's a curse because it secretly makes us terrible communicators.
So how in the world do we break this curse? Well, there's a simple and frankly brilliant technique you've probably seen online. It's called Explain Like I'm 5, or ELI5. And it's an incredibly powerful tool because it absolutely forces you to strip away all your assumptions and get back to the absolute basics.
Here's how you do it. Super simple. First, figure out the single most important thing you need to get across. Just one thing. Second, you have to ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, cut out all the jargon, the acronyms, the inside jokes, all the stuff you just take for granted. And finally, you rebuild your explanation using simple universal language. Here's the test. If a 5-year-old can't get the general idea, you're not done yet. Okay, so you've learned to break the curse of knowledge to communicate your own ideas more clearly. But what about when you're in a direct conflict? Well, it's time to move to level 2, and a really powerful technique for resolving disagreements: the empty chair.
This quote gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? In a real conflict, our ego just gets in the way. Our entire identity gets wrapped up in being right. This technique is all about temporarily letting go of that identity so you can find a real solution. So, the empty chair technique actually comes from a field of psychology called Gestalt therapy, and its power is in its stunning simplicity. You literally use a second empty chair to represent the other person, and you physically switch seats to speak from their point of view.
And this isn't just some abstract, feel-good exercise. There's real science behind this. The simple act of physically getting up and moving your body from one chair to another can trigger a genuine shift in your brain. It helps you bypass your own defensive ego and access the neural pathways you need for genuine empathy. It's wild.
Okay, here's how you actually practice this. Set up 2 chairs facing each other. From your own seat, state your case. Be clear, be honest. Then get up, physically move to the other chair. Now, from there, you have to argue back as them. You have to try to genuinely embody their feelings, their logic, their version of reality. Remember, the goal isn't to agree with them, it's to understand them on a deeper level.
All right, so we've tackled how to get our own message across and how to understand one other person in a conflict. But let's be real. Most of our important interactions involve a whole group of people. So it's time to zoom out. Welcome to Level 3. Reading the room.
Oh, I love this quote because it's such a powerful reality check. We all walk through life as the main character of our own story, right? But to every single other person in the room, we're a supporting actor, an extra, maybe just part of the scenery. Understanding this simple fact is the absolute key to social intelligence. This skill is called social decentering, and it's the art of stepping back from your own internal monologue. Your anxieties, your goals, your feelings, and trying to see yourself from the outside as just one piece of a much larger social puzzle.
So this right here illustrates the core mental shift. We naturally live in the subjective view. How do I feel in this room? Or I really hope they like my idea. Social decentering is about switching to the objective view. How do they see me in this room? Or how does my idea fit into their priorities? Mastering this one little shift is an absolute game changer for your social awareness.
Okay, so once you can accurately see how you're perceived by the people who are physically in the room with you, the final step is to see the world through the eyes of people who aren't even there. This is where perspective taking goes from a social skill to a strategic leadership tool. This is level 4, the 360-degree vision.
You know, there's this common myth that great leaders just make the right calls all the time. But truly effective leadership is about making decisions that can actually be implemented successfully. And that requires getting buy-in, especially from the people who disagree with you. It's not about being right, it's about being understood.
And that's exactly what 360-degree vision is. It's the ability to look beyond the people sitting at the meeting table and consider the perspectives of all the invisible stakeholders. You know, the ones who aren't there to speak for themselves, but who will absolutely feel the impact of your choices.
Now, it's really important to get this distinction. This is not about feeling what they feel. That's emotional empathy. This is cognitive empathy. It's the strategic ability to understand why someone thinks the way they do, what their incentives are, what drives their decisions, even if you don't agree with any of it.
So who are these invisible stakeholders? Well, they're everywhere. When you're making a business decision, it's not just your team, it's your competitor's team. It's not just your client, it's your client's customers. It's the government regulator. It's the person you might hire 5 years from now. It's even your own family waiting for you at home. Thinking about them is what leads to truly wise, robust decisions.
Phew. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. 4 levels of perspective taking, from a simple conversation all the way up to complex leadership. You have the tools now, so it is time for your first mission.
Here it is, your superpower toolkit. To communicate clearly, you're going to use ELI5. To resolve a specific conflict, try the empty chair. To improve your social awareness, practice social decentering. And to lead effectively, you need to develop your 360-degree vision. See how they all build on each other? It's a seriously powerful cognitive ability.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. Because this isn't just theory, right? It's a practical skill you can start using the moment this explainer ends. So think of one person in your life, a coworker, a family member, a friend, someone you have a disconnect with. Who is the one person you will try to see differently today? The answer to that question, that is where your superpower begins.